This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. So last session, we were discussing about the Jenkins, right? So let's continue the same part. But the Jenkins side, so we were actually trying to put the individual Jenkins files, and it was going through, which is all okay, right? And so now I want to I want to run those particular all those particular jobs in a pipeline, whatever I'm looking for, or whatever we have done in Azure DevOps. In the same way, I want to run some parallel jobs. I want to run some parallel jobs and sequential jobs, like in an order. Basically, I want to run. Okay, so how do I do that? Basically, okay, so that's the part. So we're going to see today, how do you run some parallel jobs? Okay, so let's see that. First of all, let me also go to the Jenkins and start my Jenkins system. Okay, so here are the different things which we have, right? And we just need to run them. And before to that, I think I need to keep my Jenkins file every place. So copy the Jenkins file. AMI doesn't need it. Auto scaling group not needed. Cart, we don't have the Jenkins file. So let me place the Jenkins file. And you have a catalog. A catalog also I didn't have Jenkins file. So let's place the Jenkins file. And so databases, I think we already kept it yesterday. And so front end, I think the Jenkins file is there. The payment, I think it is not there. Let me keep it here. Shipping, it is not there. Let me push it here. And user, it's not there. I kept it. And VPC, we have it. Okay. So now we have Jenkins file in all the places, by the way. Okay. Now I need to write one wrapper Jenkins file, or one wrapper Jenkins, and I want to say, I want to call these particular jobs in whatever the flow we were so having in the Azure DevOps. Okay, how do I do that? How do I do that? So probably we can just take the Jenkins from here. So basically, I would say here, so Jenkins file hyphen, so so dev create or something like that. So pipeline, and agent is any, and I'm going to write agent is any, and I'm going to go for stages, and stage is first one is a VPC. Okay, so first one is VPC. How do you run VPC? Basically, or first of all, I just want to, so do with the simple things, so steps, and I just want to go for SH. So sleep for some 20 seconds. Okay, this is the stage VPC, and after that, so what is the different? Later we'll replace the actual commands. Later we'll replace the actual commands, but for now, I just need to make a flow of that. Uh, no, let me go to releases. So infra dev create, I just see first VPC, and then followed with the front end. Okay, so then I'll go for a stage, and I'll say front end, and I will just go for steps and sh sleep another 20 seconds. So after that, the stage is going to be 2 stages I want to run in parallel. So one is ALB, and the other one is first one is ALB, and the other one is the databases. Okay, so now here I'm going to need something in parallel. Okay, so just where jenkins.io documentation, pipeline syntax, and over here, so you're having something called as parallel. How do you run some parallel? Um, how do you run some parallel stages? Is basically inside a stage, it has to be a parallel. Okay, so that means so stage, and I'm going to say that so ALB and the databases is the stage. Okay, and inside that I am going to say parallel. So inside parallel, I'm going to write 2 stages. So again stage, and I'm going to say that it is ALB. So I go for steps and SH again another one. So sleep 10, let's say. Okay, done. Let's go and see how it is actually behaving. And I will say here new item. So infra dev create or something like that. So which you're going to say it's a pipeline. So just click on OK. And no, why I'm doing this, we already have a Git repository. Let me go to the Git repository and go to the repos, go to the Jenkins, clone this. SCM is Git repository, and here it is, and the file name is Jenkins Jenkins file -dev -create Jenkins. Sorry, it's actually going to be main Jenkins file, and it's going to be main -create. Okay, click on save. Okay, all right. And the next thing is it's built now. So there are only sleep commands I'm running. So let's see. Oh, there is, it is telling that, so unable to find, what am I doing? It's not main, right? It's dev build now. Let's open the view in Blue Ocean. Blue Ocean can tell you in a better way, the view basically. So the VPC 20 seconds, it is running. So then front end, another 20 seconds. Now you see these other two jobs are actually running in parallel. You got the same view, right? So the next thing is, so once actually the, once after this particular is done, so then the next thing is, so stage, I would say, is only for just the reference purposes. And so here, so components basically, components. And here I'm going to go for again parallel. The stage card steps. Catalog. User and catalog user, and then shipping, and then payment. Okay, so this is what we have there. All right, so just go and push this. Now run once again. So the new run will be having the other flow. Right, you got it. So now the same view almost, whatever the way you're looking in the Azure DevOps, right? So it was almost the same view. Okay, now instead of actually the steps of sleep, so what I have to do is I have to call the actual job. Okay, let's call the actual job. So how do you call the actual job? So if you open any pipeline, so basically you'll be finding out the pipeline syntax. Just go there, and now what you want to say that is you want to build a job. Okay, which job I want to build? Like let's say what is the jobs which you have? It's actually under Terraform releases. It's actually under like let's say ALB. No, Terraform hyphen releases slash ALB. Yeah, it's automatically coming up, right? You choose that now. Automatically it identifies there is a parameter also would be coming up, but ALB it is telling it's not parameterized. Let me go to front end. So front end is not parameterized. Seriously? How come? Go to here and say front end. Yeah, now build with parameters is coming. So now you can take a look. Yeah, environment, and you choose dev. Okay, generate the pipeline, and this is the one which I'm going to replace. And you say that it is so front end, and now I will say this as VPC. That's it. Environment value you're sending as dev, and here it is front end only, and here it is LB, and here it is databases. Here it is databases, and here it is cart, and here it is catalog, and here it is user, here it is shipping, and here it is payment. That's it. Okay. So now if I go for the info dev create and now click on build now, so it will be launch the whole pipeline. So something is actually failing. Okay, VPC completed after failure, because unless until you run it, actually once, I think that parameters is not there. Now parameters came, and other jobs also will run it once. ALB build now once, it fails, that's okay. Cart, you click on build now. Once it goes with build now only, it will come through that build with parameters. For the first time it ran, databases also is done, build with parameters is there, and front end also it is there, and payment is not, should not be there. Build now, shipping also will not have it, build now, and user also will not have it, build now, and VPC is anyhow now having it. And also another thing, if you understand, so basically here there is only 2 jobs it can run in parallel at any point of time, because it has only 2 build executors. Okay, so now I would like to increase them, like let's say at least 5 jobs are running in parallel, and I would like to go to the configure system, and I will say I want the number of executors, at least I want on the Jenkins side is number 5. You cannot just increase just like that unless until you have some resources. Resources should be matter. Hardware resources of that machine matters. But for now I'm okay, and I'll just go and click on build now. Now something is expected to run. Yeah, so scheduling, starting build. So console output, we'll see this. So one by one, you're going to run, that's it, right? So yeah, you deal with however you want. Okay. So we talked about 3 layers of code. Basically, creating a job is a code by using seed job, and running the job using the code by using pipeline, and effectively using that particular pipeline code by using share library. Okay, so this is what the 3 things we have seen. Okay, so from here you can just enhance basically whenever you need it. You can just go ahead and look in and okay, enhance the whole setup in the sense whenever you need some options you can enhance. The same like Ruby code, you will have some conditions like you have seen, right? We kept some conditions. Okay, even on the Jenkins file also you can put some conditions. Okay, when something you can go with, and you can put some conditions. Okay, so you can play with it basically. Now we are, I think we are ready with the dev environment. I think we are already, so we kind of um, already what we call so play the dev environment, putting some load and things like that. Okay, so the next thing comes up into picture is once your environment is up and running, then the next thing comes over here is the releases. Okay, so that's where we need to talk about the release strategy. And but before to that, okay, so let's this let this pipeline completed. Okay, it takes time, at least 10-15 minutes more. But still, once we have these environments, so either you create through Azure DevOps, doesn't really matter whether you do it with this here, it doesn't really matter. Now we need to focus on the releases. Okay, so which is nothing but the CI and CD and whole attached basically. So, but how do we do that? So that we are going to see. The release strategy, basically, when it comes to the release strategy. So how do you do that? And also, we need to enhance our auto scaling group, if you remember. So we need to enhance our auto scaling group. So we are having only ASGs, but actually we're not having any kind of a rules. Okay, so auto scaling rules, Terraform. Yeah, so auto scaling group, basically auto scaling policies. So we need to write some auto scaling policies. Okay, so the policy actually we already decided, right? So only for shipping service, if the load is actually going beyond 40%, you kind of trigger a new instance. And whereas if your other components, if the load is actually beyond some 70-75%, you can okay, you can write the or you can add the another instance. Okay, so that's what the capacities we designed. Okay, so based on the CPU. Okay, so the CPU usage. So what we are actually doing is the target tracking, the target tracking configuration is what we're trying to do. And okay, so inside that, actually, we are going to give so the target value if it is greater than 40%, right? Yes, and then we're actually trying to do. So we need to embed this particular code also into that. Then this is fine. Okay, so we just need to so find out the small. We take a small auto scaling group and we'll identify how it is working over here, and then we can move on basically. Okay, we'll go there. We'll fix this, and then once we are done with the whole setup, okay, so then we'll move on to the CI and CD and production basically. So how do you do the releases and how your releases will get released basically. Let after this we can start looking into that. Or in the meantime, so we can just play with this a bit more. I think I can go to my workstation and start my workstation. So I will say so auto scaling, example Terraform. Okay, so I'm just creating this repository. So here I'm just going to make something like, so asg.df. Okay, so we need to create one auto scaling group. I think I already have some asg, something like this, asg.df. And auto scaling group. So it's actually going to be sample 111 and launch template ID. So launch template ID is this. Okay, launch template ID, but the template is also going to be like, let's say, sample, and it requires some data. So that data is actually going to be this much. Okay. Okay, and instance type is basically t2.micro, and so it does require security groups, and if you don't give it, actually it just goes empty. Okay, and for AMI data.df, whatever the AMI, you take it here. Okay, so t2.micro, and over here VPC zone identifier, I don't want to give anything. Target group ARMs, I don't want to give anything. So tags, I don't want to give anything. Okay, so this is the code. Okay, and I just want to just put one. Did it push the code? I doubt it. No. Yeah, it's pushed, and on the server side, I'm going to pull it. I just run it. First of all, let me connect to the server. And the next thing is clone it. So I think we need to write which region it is, like basically provider AWS. Region is US-East-1. And Terraform apply. At least one availability zone or VPC subnet ID is required. Okay, availability zone. Availability zones is equal to US-East-1A. Yeah, so the auto scaling group is created. So all we need to do is we just need to find out so how actually how actually the rules can be created. Okay, so let's go and see that auto scaling group rules. So just let's take a look on the dev infra create. So databases is a failure, and this always fails actually. I don't know some reason actually it's failing, but if you run for the second time it actually goes through. That's the problem we are seeing from the starting. Okay, the next thing is let's find out how can we add rules here. So now what the documentation is telling, so you have to add your policy. Okay, so policy and okay. And let's go to the auto scaling groups and just go to the auto scaling group. And if you go to the sample one and you go to the auto scaling, so basically what we have to do and add policy and track, so target tracking policy and average CPU utilization. Okay, so this is what we're trying to do, right? So yeah, and so here I'm going to say like so this is the policy. Okay, so the policy name is CPU based, and change in capacity scaling adjustment you go with the maximum of 4, and cooldown time is basically some 5 minutes I'm giving, and auto scaling group name is so asg.name. Okay, which is done. Now inside this what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a target tracking policy. Okay, And so target tracking configuration, so you're actually taking average, so ASG average utilization. If it is beyond 40%, okay, do this. Target tracking scaling. Policy type. Okay, let's take a look on the documentation. So adjust. Adjustment underscore type. So you can give change in capacity. Okay, this is fine. And a policy type. Okay, so this policy type is either simple scaling, step scaling, or target. If it isn't provided, AWS will default use AWS simple scaling. Okay, this is okay. Now you can go and apply this. So cooldown is only supported for the policy, which is this one. But we have some time actually. If you see there, even on the UI, so if you just go here and you add policy, so but you have some time, instances need, okay, warm up time. All right. So let's refer that documentation and do that. Estimated instance warm up. Okay. So this is the okay. Let's give it a try. Scaling adjustment is also not needed. Okay, let's go here and let's take a look how it is actually behaving. It's coming here. So cancel it. You kind of see one, so which is a target tracking policy enabled, and as required, CPU percentage is 40. So add or remove units, and 120 seconds to warm up. And if I just click on this, and if I click on edit also, so the options are quite same. Okay, cool. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, so now the same thing I'm going to, so take care to my ASG. Okay, this is the one we need to add it. But now if it is actually equal to shipping, okay, so then we had to use 40 percentage. Okay, so it's actually going to come as var dot load underscore average, so var dot asg underscore load underscore load underscore average. Okay, so you have here all right, so load average. Okay, fine. And this particular value should be passed from everywhere. Okay, so now let's say cart actually, whenever it is sending, it's actually going to expect something is equal to, so cart actually is like, let's say 75.0, I will go with. Okay, so, and then catalog also the same thing. And database is nothing, front end also the same thing. C.tf is 75. Payment also, it is fine, it is 75 only. And whereas coming to the shipping, here only, so it just spikes a bit faster. So here only I need to give something like, so 40. So 40 is very minimal, and you're giving it. Okay, so and the user, you're going to have ESG, and do this 75 is fine. Okay, so but actually, and also another problem which you have here is in the ASD.ef, all the auto scaling instances, the minimum size and maximum size is same. At least maximum size I'll keep 3. Okay, so so the max it can go to the 3 instances. Or since it is a dev environment, so probably I need to keep it very minimal. Like let's say var dot asg underscore max underscore instances. So is something another variable I would like to take it. So take this variable and declare another variable this one, and for Dave it can be a different data, so probably I can start using that way. And for Dave I want to give some different data, so that's where environment come into picture. So is equal to 1 only, but is in prod actually we go for max. Okay, so I will go for here, and in the ASG actually going to define this is equal to var dot this. Okay, and you go here and declare the variable this. All right, now go here, put here, so ASG is equal to 1, and here is equal to this one, is equal to this, and here variable do this. So something the same thing to this one is equal to 1. Okay, so many changes came through. Why I gave 1 here. Okay, and all these changes came through. Let's go to the Jenkins. Okay, it ran successfully second time. Now we'll run one more time because there are some changes in the code. For production, we'll go with the higher values, a bit higher values. Okay. So front end is a failure and is equal to is not expected here. Why is not expected here? Module ASG max instances is equal to var dot ASG max instances. For front end, you have dev.tf as ASG max instances, which is fine, and variables ASG max instances, which is fine, and ASG is equal to var dot this one. And actually talking, if ASG.tf is accessing it, yeah, that is also there. Yeah, so this usually comes up in Jenkins basically. Why? Because it is using the same machine all the time, right? So it is using the same machine all the time. So this ASG module is already loaded by Terraform inside your system, and you're not actually really cleaning up. So the cleanup is quite important in Jenkins. If I just go here, for time being, I'll just do it manually. Later we'll automate through pipeline. So if I go to my Jenkins instance, okay, so here's my Jenkins instance. So where lib Jenkins is the location. So CD, you will be having workspace. So CD workspace, do ls, and you have these things. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go for rm-rf start. Okay. So let's clean up the complete workspace. Now since the workspace is cleaned, the Jenkins jobs actually will now uh, try to kind of load everything. Okay, so now let's close this and let's run this once again. So for not front end, we'll go for infra dev create and just click on run. Front end went through, so we can just take a look on the front end side. So I go to the auto scaling groups. Auto scaling, so you can see that it actually came for 75. Okay, cool. All right, so that means I came to shipping. So shipping will need only for so scaling will come up in 40 basically. Okay, so fine. All right, fine. And so I think all the environment is ready. Okay, now we have to bring the code from the development area. Okay, and I want to publish here. Okay, so we are already kind of so doing that with the Azure DevOps pipelines. So we're actually publishing the artifacts to Azure artifacts. Okay, and we are actually going to download the artifacts from there. Okay, now so the same way with Jenkins also I'll be doing the same thing. Okay, so I will just so I'll just try to publish the artifacts too for each and every CI. I'm going to actually um, for every change actually I'm going to publish an artifact change to the Azure artifacts, but I'll not do it for everything. I'll do only for front end, because the other code changes, if you make, it will not make much impact, because at least in the UI you can see minimal differences. So that's where I just want to just deal with only front end. Okay, and the rest of the things is quite same. I'll go to here, the RoboShop project, and I want to go with front end, and I want to say, did I have focus? Is it up to date? Yes. Okay. Now over here, I'm going to make some Jenkins file. So new file, Jenkins file. Okay. So in the Jenkins file, so what actually we're going to do here is we are actually going to go for pipeline, and then agent can be any. Okay. And stages can be stage. Okay. So basically prepare artifacts and prepare artifacts, and let's say I go for steps and sh. Okay, so actually you're actually trying to push the artifacts like this, okay, to publish that, and you're publishing it. Okay, fine. So mkdir publish. Okay, so cp-r static. Whatever I have in the Azure pipelines, I'm just trying to do it there. That's it. So cp-r publish directory. Okay, so cp-r static to publish. You're done. So that's the preparation of artifacts. And so what you need to do is the next stage is so publish artifacts. Okay, so sh. Now your Jenkins system should have now the Jenkins system should have Azure DevOps CLI installed. Okay, how do you install Azure DevOps CLI? You know that, right? The process is Azure CLI install. I install on the this one, and just run this command. Okay, so and the next one is Azure DevOps. And Jenkins systems uses Jenkins user, so that's where I will just get with su-Jenkins, su-Jenkins, but Jenkins login will not work. Just give user mod -s, so /bin/bash. Set a shell to the user Jenkins, su-Jenkins. By default, the shell is not set. That's where it is. Okay, all right, I got this. And so cd okay, which is fine. I just want to go for Azure DevOps. Okay, Azure DevOps login. So we installed, there is no extension, so we just need to install the extension. Okay, and what it is telling is unable to get extension index. This is also okay. So second time it is going through, and it is now asking the token. Token, where do you have? You have it under. You have it under somewhere in the secret management, but I want to generate. I will generate one more token. That's okay. So I'll go to the path, personal access token. So create a new token. So which it is D53. For Jenkins I'm creating, and I will just kind of give it as full access. Just use this. So here, I'm not sure why it is asking. So pip install. We never faced this issue, right? Am I doing correctly? Let's take a look from the Ansible RoboShop roles, common tasks. Haha. Agent extension add Azure DevOps. This one is a command we need to add. I think it's already there. And after that, Azure DevOps login. Okay, which is correct only. So echo and Azure DevOps login. So yum install lib. I think it might be working. This is something else actually. So unable to store secure credentials. This is fine, I think. So how can I identify whether it is fine or not fine is just by downloading some artifact. So artifact is the best place to determine this. Let's go to artifact and let's go to cart, and here is a command to download them. Okay, so mkdir sample, so cd sample, and you run this command, it's kind of downloads it. Yeah, it's not downloading, so because credentials is not there. Okay, that means the error is something true. Keyring should be there is something getting wrong. So setup tools is what it is expecting. So it is telling that it is installed already. Python 3 setup tools is installed and Python also is installed. There's nothing to do. Or is it using Python 3? Let's try on Python 3. Mm, hmm. So type Python 3. So convey this to Python 2. And 11-s 11-s2 Python version now 3.6, and now let's go and run echo. Let it use the default Python. Still failing. Yeah, it's using Python 3 only, but it is using the pip command. Okay, so it's supposed to use pip3 command. Okay, so type pip. So pip2. So 3 pip. Oh no, still same error. Pip failed with status code 1 for package keyring. Yeah. What is the command actually it is trying to execute is? This is the command it is trying to execute. This is unnecessary. Okay. So it is executing this command in the backend. Okay. fine, let it. Pip install. When I do it manually, it is working fine. Now there is no error. And if I remove the debug, crazy. Okay, so agent space, a agent space artifacts, download. Now you try to download, you kind of get this. Yeah, so that means our pat is working fine. It is trying to download something. Okay, so we just need to do the same thing with Jenkins also, the same echo. You keep it on the Jenkins side. So even if it doesn't download also, it's okay. Why? Because I want to run it on the Jenkins. Just login is fine for now. Jenkins, just run the same command, it should go through. So here also you're getting the same error. So that means this Python command, whatever I executed manually, so it should be executing in this user as well. Permission denied. Then you should have used. So Jenkins doesn't have sudo permission, so vi/etc sudo vers.d. Come on. So here is the error, and what is the command is actually trying to use is, so this is the command is actually trying to use. And if I go and give this one, okay, makes sense. So it's actually sudo agent login, but sudo agent login it runs as a root user, and but if I try to download the Azure artifacts, like as this user, it should not be able to. It will not do. Crap, man, crap. Or else what we can do is pip install module global. So cd.azure cd dot. Let me do one small trick. rm-rf. Not sure whether it works, but slash where lib jenkins dot azure star unique copy. So cp-r dot azure and dot azure hyphen DevOps. You just copy it to in this location. Okay. So once after copy is done, so so chowm Jenkins colon Jenkins. You just give these two directories. Capital R Jenkins agent space. This is the worst trick, right? So what I did was, so agent of my login of my root user, I have done there. And I just copied the directories after login. I pulled it and put it in, keeping in my Jenkins home directory. It started working, but this is bad. This is bad. It should not break this way because earlier it was working fine for us. I'm not sure in the next AMI or whatever we make it, what kind of issues it causes. Okay, so whatever it is, it's okay for now. So, but let's go to here and go to the Jenkins file, and you need to do the Azure artifacts upload, not download. So you need to do the upload. But here it is saying downloading, and nothing is happening. Okay, it's downloaded something. All right. So, but I would like to say connect to the feed and universal packages, and so universal packages download and publish. The organization is this, project detail is this, and the scope is project, and the feed is DevOps. So feed name by the way, DevOps 53. Okay, and your package name is so whatever the package you are trying to make. So actually going to be is the front end, and the version is something we need to update. Okay, so yeah, version is something we need to think about. So as of now, because my front end is having 0020, I am going to make 0021. Okay, this is the one, but version needs to be something we need to update. But yeah, so here cd publish. Okay, so go into the publish and you publish your artifacts. So this is what my Jenkins file is saying. Okay, so now I need to create a Jenkins job. So stating, or you can go for a seed job and make it also. So, but if I go with seed job and make it again, all jobs will go again. The parameter will go away. So I will just create it manually. With no item, new item. So which it is front-end -ci. I'll go to the pipeline, click on OK. Now pipeline from SCM, and it's actually a Git repository. And so where is my Git repository? Let's go to 3 and repos gen no rs-front end. Okay, and it's actually going to be a master or main basically. I think it is master only, no problem. And it is Jenkins file. So just click on save and click on build now. Is the error? The error is not sure. Build now. Pipeline stage something stages. So now it made the prepare the artifacts, and it is now trying to publish the artifacts. So but that version number we need to handle. So the same with the tagging. Okay, if there is a tag created, so then only we would like to go and run this, and so which is fine. So now we have the artifact getting published. So now once after the artifact is published, so we need to create an AMI. So the same story, right? So the same story, so here also in Jenkins, we are going to create an AMI part. Okay, and we are going to publish that particular AMI changes to, we're going to publish the AMI changes to our auto scaling group. Okay, how do we do that? So that particular part we're going to see it in mostly in tomorrow's session. Okay, so we're actually trying to get the artifacts from Jenkins, and so we're actually sending it to, we're actually trying to send it to, trying to actually send it to the release basically. Okay, updating on the servers. But how do we do that? That whole process you will see it in tomorrow's session. But before to that, so today I want to just kick off the AMI part. Okay, at least today, if I kick off the AMI and we can close it up. Okay, so since the new artifact came down, and so yeah, it has to create an AMI. So I just want to check it out on Azure DevOps pipelines. You go to the releases. Is there any releases running? So the AMI is already triggered, front-end AMI, because there was a change, and of course the AMI comes into picture. So now how this new AMI will get updated? So that's what we're going to see it in tomorrow's session. So probably yeah, either Jenkins job or Azure DevOps job, doesn't really matter. So once we get it, that's fine. Okay. So I think that's all from my side for today. So tomorrow we're going to see how do we apply our changes to the infrastructure. So far actually you are kind of doing it on the same, or you're actually not doing the updates to the existing environment. Once you set up the environment, that is done. But actually as a process of DevOps, you're going to continuously do the releases, and that release, how do so send it to the server side. So that's the strategy we're going to talk about tomorrow. Once we are done with that, so we'll enhance the CI a little bit more, and yeah, so we will, okay, we'll talk about those particular options which are the more in the CI as well. Okay, yeah, I think that's all from my side for today. Any questions? Okay, all right. No questions. We'll meet in tomorrow's session, and see you in tomorrow. Bye. Good day. Good night.